On this episode of the podcast, this is where it come to and thing, cause we did talk to you the last time and come like you never hear who say or you weren't paying attention and thing. You were saying if you go stay with your Aunt Judy, cause she never realized when him say you're grounded, she said, yeah, I realize that yes, I'm grounded, but there's something I need to tell you. I was like, no, but I tell you say you go down on earth. Answers just moments away. This episode is brought to you by listeners like you, our intergalactic fuel, and the boost behind this mic. Thanks for supporting our cosmic journey through the universe of sci-fi.
Prepare for warp speed as we embark on a voyage through the vast expanse of science fiction in movies and television series. From distant planets to alien civilization, we delve into the heart of the unknown, unraveling the tales that have captured audiences for generations. Get ready to unlock the secrets of the universe on Code Flix.
Greetings, fellow sci-fi and fantasy lovers. Welcome to Code Flix, where we explore the TV shows and movies that shape our imaginations. I'm Andre Bonner, and in today's episode, we'll be looking at space pop, teen spirit, and galactic adventures in the Disney Channel original movie, Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. This is another Disney Channel gem from my teenage years. One that stuck with me not just for the glittery space aesthetics, but for the message it sent loud and clear. You can find your own way in the world, no matter what anyone says. Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, follows a spirited teen who is grown up on a high-tech space station, orbiting Earth in the 21st century. Xenon's parents work there, but she's the kind of girl who doesn't just orbit. She challenges gravity, whether she's dragging her best friend Nebula into trouble or taking out shady corporate villains. Zenon is always in the middle of the action. But when she digs a little too deep into the sketchy dealings of Mr. Lutz, the slick assistant to space station mogul Mr. Wyndham, she's grounded, literally, sent back to Earth to live with her Aunt Judy. Zenon struggles to adjust to life on the planet. No zero-G, no space tech, just Earth teens, homework, and dirt, lots of dirt. But things heat up when Zenon discovers a real threat to the station, and she's the only one who can stop it. With the clock ticking, she hitches a ride back into orbit with none other than Protozoa and his boy band, Microbe, in a wild race to save her home and expose the truth. This movie is pure Y2K nostalgia. Metallic outfits, spiky hair, space slang like Zetus Lepidus, and, of course, those boy band vibes. But underneath the sparkle and sass is a surprisingly empowering message about independence, courage, and trusting your instincts, even if no one else does. Watching this takes me straight back to those carefree summers with my older sisters and my nieces and nephews, curled up on the couch, popcorn in hand, blasting off to a future that felt just within reach. So strap in, cadets. We're going from space to Earth and back again as we revisit this intergalactic Disney Channel classic.
Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century is a 1999 American science fiction comedy film directed by Kenneth Johnson and starring Kirsten Storms as the eponymous heroine. The film was based on the book Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century written by Marilyn Sadler and Roger Bolen. The film was originally conceived as a pilot for a potential television series. The film was the first under the Disney Channel original movie banner to produce a sequel, Zenon, the Sequel, 2001. A third and final installment was also produced, Zenon, Z3, 2004. The year is 2049 and Zenon Carr is a girl who lives with her family on an Earth-orbiting space station. After Zenon gets into trouble with the space station's commander, Edward Planck, her parents punish her by sending her to Earth to live with her Aunt Judy. On Earth, Zenon experiences trouble fitting in with other kids, who consider her name, space station stories, and slang to be weird. Likewise, Zenon considers the children at her school woefully out of touch with pop culture. Eventually, Zenon makes friends on Earth with two boys, Andrew and Greg, with whom she develops a relationship. Along the way, the kids learn to be more accepting of one another and to look past first impressions. During her time on Earth, Zenon uncovers a plot masterminded by station bigwig Parker Wyndham to use a computer virus to crash the space station and collect the insurance money. When Zenon tries to warn her parents of the danger, Commander Planck, who sees all children as troublemakers, convinces Zenon's parents not to listen to her. Planck believes that her story is only a ploy to get back onto the space station to attend an upcoming concert by her idol Protozoa and his pop rock group Microbe. Andrew and Greg join in to help Zenon find a way to save the people on the space station. Andrew creates a computer antivirus, but Zenon must get Andrew's disk to the space station. Zenon goes to the launch yard, hoping to sneak onto a rocket to the space station. Protozoa, who is about to depart for the concert, recognizes Zenon from a Dance with Protozoa contest, has her join him on the launch to the station. Wyndham and Lutz enter the rocket to try to stop Zenon, and Aunt Judy follows them. Upon arrival, Commander Planck is shocked to see Zenon, but lets her stay when he becomes smitten with Aunt Judy. Planck still won't believe Zenon's story, especially when Wyndham accuses her of trying to sabotage the station. Zenon manages to load Andrew's antivirus program on the station's computers in time. Wyndham is arrested with his assistant Lutz while everyone else enjoys the Microbe concert. Here is a breakdown of themes and symbols in Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, 1999, concluding with a thematic synthesis. Themes. 1. Technological optimism versus alienation. Set in a high-tech space station, Zenon explores the dual nature of technology. While it enables convenience, exploration, and innovation, it also disconnects people from Earth, nature, and tradition. Zenon's journey between Earth and space contrasts tech-enhanced living with grounded, more emotionally connected lifestyles. 2. Youth empowerment and rebellion. Zenon represents a classic coming-of-age heroine who challenges adult authority and institutional complacency. Her defiance, curiosity, and intuition lead her to uncover and stop a corporate sabotage plan, emphasizing the value of youthful independence, critical thinking, and agency. 3. Corporate greed and corruption. The antagonists plot to crash the space station for profit critiques corporate exploitation and manipulation. The film subtly warns against blind trust in corporate leaders, portraying them as willing to jeopardize lives for capital gain. 4. Environmental and earthbound awareness. Although the narrative is largely set in space, Earth is depicted as culturally rich and meaningful. The return to Earth gives Zenon a renewed appreciation for both human connection and planetary grounding, serving as a subtle nod to environmental consciousness and cultural roots. 5. Belonging and identity. Zenon struggles with fitting in both in space and on Earth. Her experience straddling two worlds symbolizes adolescence and the search for identity in unfamiliar settings. Her journey helps her bridge gaps between communities, cultures, and value systems. Symbols. 1. The space station. A symbol of the future, innovation, and human ambition. It also represents isolation from nature and the overreach of technology when disconnected from ethical grounding. 2. Zenon's earring, the chip. The earring containing the virus-disabling chip becomes a symbol of hidden knowledge, empowerment, and the idea that even the most unassuming individuals can hold the key to massive change. 3. Earth versus space dichotomy. Earth is symbolic of authenticity, family, and traditional values, while space represents the future, progress, and at times, detachment. Zenon's transition between both realms highlights the importance of balance between innovation and cultural grounding. 4. Protozoa and Microbe, the band. They symbolize youth culture, individuality, and rebellion in a sterile, corporate-controlled society. The music embodies emotional expression in a world increasingly run by logic and systems. 5. Zenon's Zetus Lapitus slang. The unique slang captures the generational and cultural evolution in a futuristic world. It also reinforces the theme of individuality and the idea that even language evolves with context and community. Conclusion. Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, offers a light-hearted but meaningful exploration of youthful resistance, technological ambivalence, and cultural reconnect. Through Zenon's courageous actions, the film critiques unchecked corporate power, emphasizes the importance of trust and intuition, and celebrates the impact one determined young person can have. Beneath its flashy space-age aesthetics lies a message of balance between progress and tradition, innovation and ethics, isolation and community. Here is a character analysis of the main characters in Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, 1999, a Disney Channel original movie that mixes Y2K-era futurism with teen rebellion and space station life. Zenon Carr, Kirsten Storms. Traits: bold, curious, rebellious, tech-savvy, idealistic. Analysis: Zenon is the quintessential early 2000s teen heroine. Her brashness and independent thinking often get her into trouble, but her intuition and sense of justice usually win out. She challenges authority not out of disrespect, but because she genuinely wants to do what's right. Her character represents a youthful optimism and determination to be heard in a world, or orbiting space station, run by adults. Symbolism: embodies the archetype of the disruptive youth with a purpose, the kid who saves the day when adults overlook the truth. Aunt Judy Kling, Holly Fulger. Traits: neurotic, loving, supportive, reluctant adventurer. Analysis: earthbound and anxious, Aunt Judy serves as Zenon's reluctant guardian during her time on Earth. Her arc shows growth from fearful and reserved to brave and action-oriented. She represents the adult who reconnects with wonder and courage through the younger generation. Symbolism: she's a bridge between earthbound cynicism and orbital wonder, a character who learns to trust the next generation. Commander Edward Plank, Stuart Pankin. Traits: stern, bureaucratic, ultimately fair. Analysis: initially skeptical and rigid, Commander Plank upholds rules and structure aboard the space station. However, as the story unfolds, he shows flexibility and an ability to listen, especially when it comes to Zenon's warnings. He's a stand-in for the adult authority figure whose respect must be earned. Symbolism: represents structured authority that isn't villainous, just cautious and bound by protocol. Wyndham Protozoa Stark, Philip Reese. Traits: eccentric, charming, creative, celebrity-conscious. Analysis: lead singer of Microbe, Protozoa is both an icon and a surprisingly grounded ally. He becomes a symbol of Zenon's connection to the outside world and her belief in her own voice. His willingness to help reflects his authenticity beneath the pop star persona. Symbolism: embodies how influence, especially celebrity, can be used for good, especially when paired with sincerity. Margie Hammond, Lauren Maltby. Traits: jealous, privileged, competitive, eventually cooperative. Analysis: Margie begins as Zenon's nemesis, judgmental and petty, often sabotaging Zenon for personal satisfaction. However, her arc transitions into reluctant respect and even friendship. She mirrors Zenon's flaws but lacks her courage until she learns from her. Symbolism, a foil to Zenon, she represents the potential for growth and how competition can shift into collaboration. Parker Wyndham, Frederick Coffin. Traits: charming, manipulative, corporate-minded. Analysis: the film's antagonist, Wyndham disguises his intentions behind corporate polish and charm. He represents the classic threat of corporate greed masked by progress and expansion. His underestimation of Zenon proves to be his downfall. Symbolism, a critique of unchecked capitalism and the dangers of exploiting technological systems for profit. Nebula Wade, Raven-Symoné. Traits: loyal, smart, stylish, grounded. Analysis: Nebula is Zenon's best friend and emotional anchor. She balances Zenon's impulsiveness with reason, showing loyalty even from a distance. Though her screen time is limited, her influence on Zenon is constant. Symbolism represents emotional stability and peer support in a world full of adult dismissiveness. Space Station Zenon, set design. The futuristic Skybowl Habitat 1 space station is built on sound stages filled with sleek white panels, walkaway corridors, and compact living quarters. Bright neon colors and soft lighting evoke a sanitized, high-tech environment. Retrofuturistic technology includes voice-activated zap pads, transparent computer interfaces, and floating holographic displays anticipating real-world designs like tablets and smart assistants. The station's public spaces, restaurants, hallways, and command center used glossy floors and accent lighting to evoke a glossy, idealized future of 2049. Globe showing Europe-Africa 2. Earth sequences, contrast setting. Earth is depicted through suburban Vancouver neighborhoods, incorporating earthy tones, natural light, and grounded practicality. Zenon's transition is emphasized by costume and set change from metallic hues to pastel casual wear, symbolizing her acclimation to Earth life. 3. Costume design. Zenon, bold pops of purple, pink, and silver alongside chunky boots and asymmetrical styling, youthful and expressive of station culture. Station residents, tailored jumpsuits in futuristic shapes, uniforms mix spandex and metallic fabrics. Earth teens, casual late 90s fashion, jeans, flannels, and sneakers to emphasize cultural and environmental contrast. Costume and set interplay reinforce world separation and Zenon's evolving identity. Performing Arts 4. Production team and legacy. Screenwriter Stu Krieger, known for Land Before Time and Smart House, consulted with real scientists to envision plausible yet playful tech for kids. The film originally served as a pilot for a TV series, leading to 2 sequels, 2001's The Zequel and 2004's Z3. Zenon's production design inspired later Disney sci-fi projects, ranked among the best DCOMs by Entertainment Weekly. Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, visually captures the wonder of a future imagined by the 90s, with bright fashion, imaginative tech, and a contrast between 2 very different lifelong worlds.
Stargazing mega fast, you lit me like a cosmic blast. You're giving me a technicolor world, putting me in overdrive. Speed of light, I'm so alive. Could you be my supernova girl? Interplanetary, megastellar, hydrostatic. There's no gravity between us. Our love is automatic now. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Make my heart go. Boom, boom, my supernova girl. Zoom, 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 make my heart go. Boom, boom, my supernova girl. Zoom, 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 make my heart go. Boom, boom, my supernova girl. Zoom, 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 make my heart go. My supernova girl. So here are my personal insights and interpretations of the film, including some of my favorite moments, And characters. Speaking of characters, the dude that played Ryak in Stargate SG-1 is a part of the cast, right? And it is just recently when I rewatched Xenon for this podcast that I realized how integral the film was to my upbringing, especially at such a young age as a teenager. Because I wouldn't particularly describe myself as being a difficult child or anything near to what the teenagers in this film are like. Anyways, let's get into it. So, in the opening, we see a sweeping view of Earth from space and then a zoom in to a bustling, futuristic space station, right? So, this is where we see, Xena, we see, everybody introduced here slowly, right? It's almost like it's a normal circumstance, right? So, Zenon is a spirited 13-year-old, and she basically go through the normal teenager stuff, going to school, hanging out with friends, all of those good things, right? She dreaming big, despite she's confined to, this highly regulated environment. Now, our world is filled with some futuristic technology and some automated systems that are quite quirky, and they have a uniquely spacey style of doing all of that, right? And that kind of help you to kind of mirror it to what the challenges of daily life on Earth is like, We also get to meet the parents. So we see that she has supportive parents, but sometimes them overly protective, right? And how, she is trying to navigate all of that. So we see that there are some little troubles, that daily happen, small glitches, right? So as Xena, and I keep calling her Xena, but it's Zenon, Xena is probably another TV show that I need to do on this podcast. So watch out for that. Anyways, we'll get some ideas that there are some things that are quite highly regulated on the space station, as I said before, and those would have necessarily mean that you, as a teenager, would have to adhere to all of these little things, all of the nuances. So it kind of limit the way how you don't want to operate as a teenager because you want to be able to do some of the stuff and go some of the places where, you're not really supposed to be doing, right? So basically, in earlier on, Xenon over here is a conversation, right? Where they might discuss some of the changes and, how it will affect our school and, some of the practices them we should go on with, right? One of which is that Mr. Wyndham is coming to the space station to evaluate it, right? Him and Mr. Lutz, right? And if you've watched the show, watched the movie, you would know who these people are, right? These are the villains, right? Mr. Wyndham owns the space station, and so him coming there for do that evaluation is really him trying to find a way to make an excuse to stop spending on something that him don't see any profit in, right? Him not see no business in that. So Xenon, of course, is going through the motions of doing certain things, right? One of the things that she would have done is that she imbibed the rest of our friends, I spoke of Ryak, the guy, the dude who played Ryak. Nebula, who is played by, her, Raven, right? That's So Raven from That's So Raven, right? Which is a really nice TV show, guys. You can check that out. And a few other persons, but she get all of them in for help her to go out onto the, on a spacewalk, basically, a unsanctioned spacewalk. And nobody not sanctioned her for go on a spacewalk. She decides that she's going to take a spacewalk because she wants to see, I believe, there was some kind of cosmic phenomena that was taking place. And everybody can obviously stay on the space station and look through the window and watch it. But Zenon decided she wanted to see it up close and personal by taking a spacewalk, right? And she was trying to get her friends to come along, but they're like, we already know enough trouble already, so we ain't doing that. They were basically her lookouts and stuff, but they weren't good lookouts because, her father came along and he saw her, caught her and thing and caught all of them and thing, so, carry her home and thing. Our mother stress out, have our mother where they have this technology where it's like a stress helmet, basically, and it helps, I guess, to probably de-stressify you. I don't know, I call it a stress helmet, but it's supposed to de-stressify you, right? That would be cool for some people who, get very, very stressed, under stressed a lot. You could have a helmet where you could put on and it just, psh, yeah. Like, and that was something that was being thought of in the 1990s. So, what I'm saying? Perhaps it's on its way. Some scientists out there, hopefully somebody in the scientific community listening can just say, hey, guys, this guy's talking about stress helmet. You guys working on it? You guys fix it? Yeah, and we just, I don't know, do something, right? I don't can always just call me in and think, if you want ideas or, I want somebody who can test certain little thing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing too dangerous though, okay? Anyways, back to the film. So yeah, so she get, the book thrown at her basically. And mother said, basically this is almost like the last straw now and thing, before the big thing and stuff. Anyways, big things are going on now because the space station is expecting Celebrity, who is the boy band that we know of as Microbe, with the leader of the band Protozoa, and Xenon and our friend them have a them have a crush on the band, of course, and that kind of teen angst stuff, they are for them band that are for them music, for them thing that. So they were excited and ecstatic, right? Xenon no one at a time she wasn't even paying attention in class, right? When the teacher asked her something, she's like, I wasn't, talking about that. I love history. She's trying to cover up the fact that she was actually, instead of doing her assignment or doing any schoolwork, she was actually, finding out that, Microbe was coming to the space station even before everybody. The big announcement, right? So they announced it now and thing, and them say, yeah, ma come and thing and whatever. And there's a competition where the winner of the competition will get to dance with Protozoa, right? And obviously the girls them love that. So, between Nebula and herself, they enter the competition. They were supposed to do something creative, right? Write a poem or do a diorama or something. I think Xenon did a model, right? And what she used garbage. She is a genius, art genius, I think, because she used garbage that she find in the space station dumpster. She got dumpster diving and find, the materials to make a model replica of protozoa. It really looked really good, right? Anyways, obviously, it wouldn't be, a movie about Xenon if she never win. So she wins the competition, right? Of course, she and Nebula was like, we really did hope that the 12 could have win and blah, blah, blah. But, one winner, rare. Anyways, Mr. Wyndham, as I mentioned, he comes to the space station now and he's like, looking around and, smiling very funnily. And of course, Xena, recognizing that this man looked very suspicious, very sus. You know what I'm saying? That's how we talk now, right? But I don't remember the phrase that she used, but she have various little phrase, like, yeah. Anyways, I ain't gonna repeat it because I don't want to chat foolishness. But, you know, they have some kind of space slang kind of thing. So she was like, this like should I say the mission scrub or whatever. But this was something that was very unnerving for her. And then just the way him that look on her and thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it does they look weird. All right. So she ends up deciding to follow Lutz, right? Without really knowing, it's just the feeling when she get from them, She decides that she go follow them. All right. So she follow Lutz now, right? Because, the night when she went dumpster diving, and she come back up, she realized, she wasn't alone. She saw Lutz trying to enter a restricted area where everybody knows that it's a restricted area because it's the brain of the space station. It is where them keep the mainframe, right? The computer where run the whole of the space station. So him that trying to get in and thing. But before he was able to get in that night, Zenon, come in and she's like, "Hey, what you doing up here?" And he might get her some excuse and she said, "All right, let's walk me to my section because it's very, very scary and whatever." Whatever excuse she gave him. So apparently, he was trying to do something and she decided that she was going to find out what it was because something, I think it's icky. She used the word icky. I just remembering something. Yeah, I think that's the word she used was going on. And so she asked one of, our fellow friends, right? I think it was even the same dude that I told you about, Ryak again, right? I keep calling him Ryak because I don't remember the character's name right now. But you guys who watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I think he gets the access code to get into the same place where she saw Mr. Lutz trying to get into the night before, so she can watch him. So she would have gotten in herself in there, hid somewhere where she could watch him come in, and she see exactly what him do. Him put a disk in the computer and do apparently some kajiggering or programming, with his fingers, and then him leave, right? Now, when she come out, no, she can't come out because what? She can't remember the code, and the code where she did writing on the middle of her hand, it get rub out. So she end up entering the wrong code too many times, and you know what happens when that happens? Security system triggers and alerts the officials. Them reach, them hold her in custody, and our mother and father get to hear about it. And them asking her what she was doing in there, and she can't give the explanation where you'd expect to hear, right? Or the one that they would want to understand. And then on top of that, they know how zesty she is, and very energetic. So they don't hear a word what she have to say, right? And then worse, she try to accuse someone who they believe to be perhaps doing some good for them, right? Yeah. Anyways, so Xenon gets grounded, as I mentioned, and them tell her, say, basically, this is where it come to and thing, because we did talk to you the last time and come like you never hear who say, or you weren't paying attention and thing. You were saying if you go stay with your Aunt Judy, because she never realized when him say you're grounded, she said, yeah, I realize that yesterday I'm grounded, but there's something I need to tell you. And it's like, no, but I tell you, say, you go down on earth. You got to dirt, you know what I'm saying, to the earth. And yeah, that was it for her, right? No more teen angst for her at this point. When the next day, when she was leaving, her friend Nebula found the disc that Mr. Lusk dropped, and she gave her as a present unknowingly, as an earring piece. She put it on as an earring, When she got on the shuttle and thing, because it was Mr. Wyndham's shuttle that would take her to Earth, and the mother and the father, they must have asked, and Mr. Wyndham saying, hey, yo, can you do us a favor, just drop her off like we are go Earth? Yeah. So she get drop off on Earth and thing, and when she reach Mr. Lutz, him realize, say, she have the disc in her ears, right? After a very awkward conversation. The conversation is very awkward because they were all looking at one another like, and Xenon was like, what are you talking about, guys? Like, Anyways, she didn't even realize what was going on yet. Her auntie come for her and take her home and thing, and, she proclaims that her life is over because she, as a teenager, reached there. So, what happens next? Well, Xenon has been to Earth once before, but she was too young to remember every single detail, right? And so, to her, Earth life is very, very crowded, weird, and dirty. We'll be right back after these messages. In the 21st century, life moves fast, especially in the galaxy of sci-fi stories. This podcast isn't monetized, just powered by pure love for the genre, and maybe a few interstellar dance moves. If you're enjoying the ride, share it with your bestie or your Nebula. The one who totally sneak out of the space station for an adventure. And leave a comment too. It's like sending me a cosmic Zeta Cepetus from across the stars. Every listen, follow, and share helps keep the ship in orbit and the music playing. Stay stellar, stay curious, and stay out of Commander Planck's ray. She even struggles in school because the fashion and the fact that she's not used to certain phrases and slangs yet, it just makes it that much more difficult for her. Although she have all of them problems that though, Xena was still able to make friends, and very easily too, because Andrew, he saw her with her auntie, and from that time days, he can't take him eye off of Xenon. Now I'm saying, him have a friend named Greg, right, who is tech savvy, and thing, and them help her basically to navigate planet Earth, she start to kind of, after she warm up to Andrew, because she had to warm up to him, because initially she was just like, why is this guy just so into me, and then she realized that, oh, he likes me, and, she didn't mind that either, because she find him interesting as well. So even Margot, who was supposedly was Andrew's girlfriend before, and Andrew stated, you know, me ain't never there. You know, basically, me you never there, right? And thing, and you know, to her face. Yeah. Anyways, they decide to help her out, you know, with the issue that she found out after now, as I mentioned, that she had the dishonor all this time because Lutz must he get man arm go there himself and do the yard and go dig up the room. They broke in the house, you know, and dig up the room where Xenon does the, you know, right? Toss and everything, but because Xenon was wearing the earring with the disc, yeah. When they find out said that now, in comfort, she realized how important it was. And so now she decides to use that against him, right? By trying to come to a truce with him, right? A false truce, basically, to find out what him really up to, you know, and to find a way to get back to the space station, right? After she find out from Greg, who tried to use the disk on his computer and realized it was infected by a very voracious worm, right? In the tech business, you know, worm and viruses, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it took over a system and it through the resources until it, you know, basically caught on fire, right? So she realized that is what it would happen to the space station computers, and he mentioned that hey, the computers them up there would be a little bit more advanced, but it would just take time for them to be fully infected, and then the space station could come crashing to Earth. So it's up to Zenon now to save the day, of course. And so Zenon finds herself in a situation where she has to try and, you know, get some help, of course, from someone up on the space station. So she asks Nebula to go again, doing something very illegal, to go and, you know, get some help, you know, to find out when a next cargo delivery is supposed to happen so she can go up on one of the cargo, you know, transports. It took a little while for Nebula because the station broke down. You know what I'm saying? It's fluctuating power outages, all sort of something happening. She had previously called her mother and father, and they lied to her about what was happening, even though they were astonished at the fact, say, she did know, say, something was happening on the space station, but they probably thought that she got that from one of her friends, them, because, you know, probably she was able to contact them, right? Even though she was not, because they put a block on her device that she was using to call. Yeah. And of course, you know, this was before you didn't have certain technology, but at the same time, when you had cell phone technology, so it was understood, so you could do video calling to a certain extent on computer. So for the tablet and type of device, that was something technologically advanced for this and very, very relevant, you know, to where we are now, right? Where we can FaceTime and we can WhatsApp message and all of these things. Yeah. Anyways, so Xenon now realize, say, boy, you know, time I run up on her and thing. She have to get help, you know, from Andrew again. And Greg, right? They help her by bringing to the location, but it was too late. The transport lift off just as them arrive, right? So she was gonna have to find another way, to the space station, right? And all of this she was doing without telling her Aunt Judy the full of it, right? Yeah. So Aunt Judy never know what's going on with her, right? Aunt Judy thinks she's actually cool, by the way. Anyways, that's another conversation. So Xenon, being the winner of the microbe contest now, she was able to get in to where they had protozoa for a press briefing, a press event, basically at the same place where Wyndham them, building is, right? She's able to pass security, right? And get to Protozoa himself and beg him for him to take her to the space station with him, right? And of course, he did oblige her. He was like, yeah, sure, you can come and thing. And, when the security realized, because Mr. Wyndham realized now, so she was there. When they realized, then come and them a try to get, Xena, it's like, gentlemen, you shouldn't be working for this man, you need to work for me. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a rock star, you know what I'm saying? Man, I promised them basically some stuff. I mean, yeah. Anyways, she gets onto the shuttle, right? Without Wyndham them know yet. Aunt Judy, she find herself on the shuttle. Lutz and Wyndham them find themselves on the shuttle when they find out say she was aboard it, and it take off, right? Towards the space station now, right? And of course, Lutz and them man they know say, yo, them don't really want to go to the space station, but they were trying to stop her, right? When they reach the space station, they were like, we need to leave now, and the commander of the shuttle is like, we can't leave now because we need to refuel, right? And we're not got enough fuel to get back home, you know what I'm saying? So we are say, no matter say right now, all right? So they pursue Xenon and thing, and they start to, tell the Commander Planck on the space station, say, boy, come wreck the station and all of these things and whatever. And, for a minute, it seemed like Xenon would not be able to fulfill the mission that she came there to do, right? To save the station. But then she was able to find her way into the same space station mainframe room where everybody was and be like, just trust me. I'm going to save the day. Trust me, I can save the day with this. That you don't know what is on it and, how I got it to work or whatever. And I don't even know if it works because I don't, will work on this, kind of thing because it might work for a little computer, but say it must work for a big mainframe, right? Right, and then there's a countdown for it to basically, shut down destruction, basically, right? So all of that combined into that one moment made for good watching, I'm telling you, right? And you must watch this on Disney Plus, right? It's on Disney Plus now. I'm telling you, it was, it just brought back some nostalgia. I mean, rewatching it now, you might feel like it's a little bit cheesy in some of the stuff that happens, but just to see those little things happening, those little plot moments, the climax, and it just like the timing, it wasn't bad. The story was solid, right? And of course, you had to have things like, Aunt Judy, who prayed a man and never used to talk to man because she, have some problems. Attack to Commander Planck. You know what I'm saying? They spark up a conversation, you know what I'm saying? It just took the right person, right? That's what they're trying to say. And of course, being that Xenon had time with Protozoa on the space shuttle toward coming to the space station, right? Because him that play cards at one point. She decides to give up her winning dance, right, with Protozoa to her friend Nebula. That was awesome as well, just to see that and thing. And, Nebula never take too long for decide that she want to dance. She was like, "You sure? You sure?" And then she go, "Boop." But that wasn't too long, right? It was like half a second. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So Zenon is hailed as a hero, right? And of course, you know, they're like, "Yeah, you did good." You know what I'm saying? And thing, and we can respect you for a little while and thing. But without, going into anything, I bet you, bottoms dollar. I don't remember how the other two movies them fully go, but I bet you bottom dollar that we see some kind of rehashing in some sort of way and a little bit of glitter in certain things. If you know what I mean, make things a little bit more weird, right? Anyways, that is my analysis and interpretation of Xenon. Stay tuned probably for the other two movies at some point. I don't know when that's going to be based on my schedule. So here are my theories about unresolved mysteries and some plot points. So the first question I want to know, and I think a lot of you would want to know, is why doesn't anyone listen to Zenon? Obviously, Zenon is not necessarily a troublemaker, but I think she's misunderstood in terms of her intentions. And she is a child after all, right? A teenager. And so them have a lot of energy. And so you have to find some way, especially when they're so darn creative, because she is a creative, to channel all of that into something that is worth a lot, can do a lot. You know what I'm saying? Else you're gonna be having problems with them constantly. Right? I think they have underestimated. I want to say they, I mean, space station, the commander, her parents have underestimated her. The only one who has really acknowledged Xenon for her being herself was Aunt Judy, right? And I'm not saying that actions shouldn't have consequences. She was grounded after all, and I'm not in disagreement for that. Yeah, especially when you do something that can cause problems. Yeah, there are consequences, right? But not just punishing without understanding what the child needs, and because what they might say they want is not necessarily what they need. So, as caregivers and parents, we have to figure that out. And we have to work at that, right? We have to try and work at that. It's not easy, right? Because it's not like your child come with a manual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How old was Xenon when she went to space? Now, I don't think it was necessarily mentioned in the film. Probably it was mentioned in the book or somewhere else, but she might have been around 5 years old, based on what I was reading on the internet. But at an age even as tender as that, let's say she is 5, right? There's so much I can remember from that time, right? And I can hardly remember what happened last week when I had lunch. But, there is so much that you would have experienced, and you would be able to form certain habits and behavior styles based on, how that formative moment in your life. So, yes, I might not be able to remember exact details, but there are certain things that stick with me. Yeah, certain things that stick with us. The fact that I'm even doing this podcast is an, interesting piece too. So maybe, just the way how they presented it, it kind of seems as if, she was old, she was a little bit older than she was, because remembering the rain and how it felt and all of that. Yeah, but then it could be a sign of genius too, right? Who knows? Who is Mr. Wyndham trying to fool with that fake smile? I tell you who he's not fooling? Xenon. Him not fool Xenon because from Xenon see him and she, what I'm saying, and she was like, "Hi, Mr. Wyndham," and she was trying to be nice to him because she was trying to be good graces because everybody was telling her, "Hey, you need to be on your best behavior, be on your best behavior." And, her parents are there at the first introduction. But yeah, she was not fooled for a second, right? And, even the other day, right, I had a conversation with someone and we were talking about the fact that sometimes kids will stay away from certain adults. And sometimes, because you don't want that adult to feel away or you don't, you're in a particular situation, you don't want it to be anything, become a thing. You're like, no, say hello and whatever, or, do this particular thing. Sometimes we expect kids to understand certain things, but they don't fully understand certain things. And by us forcing them into a situation like that, we are priming them for the wrong situation, right? We are putting them in a situation where we're telling them to discount their natural tendency, their natural intuition, and that can lead to the child not fully understanding why it is that this person gives them a little bit of a scare or seems creepy, and yet still them parents are telling them say you need to say hello or you need to be nice, right? Or you need to behave a certain way, without understanding the full context of things. So sometimes it's best to leave the child be in the situation. And then you can have that follow up conversation. You have that conversation and say, hey, no matter how old the child is, and you can reason with them, you can say, hey, why you don't feel comfortable? Why are you what is it? Is it their head? Is it their feet? What is it? And you can have that conversation and build up the confidence in the child now, because perhaps it was something, you know, you could guide them through and you could say, hey, maybe, so and so, don't, judge the person or, whatever it is. Because that's what, we expect of anybody to tell us, right? If may I behave a certain way, right? If you feel uncomfortable around me because me, me kind of seem awkward or me not, dealing with you. You see me on the road and you be like, hey, this dude know who me is, where am I going to? Right? Just ask me, what is wrong with you, man? Yeah. Sometimes you just have to have that conversation. Yeah. And, back to the movie, if the conversation was held afterwards, without judgment, she could talk to her parents. And this is the thing about, the way how parents enable their children not to talk to them or not to confide in them and tell them the truth because there's consequences, right? Or because they won't listen. my parents won't listen, so I don't want to say anything to them. As soon as I say something to them and them don't like it, them going to fly off the handle, and I'm not going to talk to them. I've talked to kids and I'm like, hey, why you don't tell your mother so and so? They say, no, she going to do this and thing, and I don't want that happen. Make she stay. And I'm like, you know, we have kids censoring themselves around us because them fear that kind of thing. That shouldn't be the case. That should never be the case. So, yeah, that's something there, a little gem for you guys. Where was Protozoa's security? That's what I want to know. In space? I mean, they could have been fired. They allowed a teenager to get so close to Protozoa, right? You know what I'm saying? And on top of this now, the space station, why is it that the most important parts of the space station are not being monitored or surveilled, right? You can't have a door. Yes, you have your security palm scanner, whatever it is, right? Way to get into the place, right? Without a code, right? You can't get in there, get inside without a code. But if someone does, you would like to know who it is that is going in there, right? Because if they're going in there, it's unofficial business, and so they should be surveilled, right? You should know who and who go into the system. You should be able to log them and know who it is, right? It's supposed to have one security stand up right at the door, be like, "Excuse me, sir, what you want in here?" Yes. And I'm saying at least even if Mr. Lutz or Mr. Wyndham, as much powered as they sway on the space station themselves, they should still go through the proper channels, right? They should be logged and monitored and so on. So whatever activity them take place, because people are people, right? People are people. You can't just expect to say everybody is gonna be of the under the best circumstance, because you don't know. Maybe Mr. Wyndham was wife is being held hostage and he decides the hostage takers them decide say that them gonna use him, right? Same thing for Mr. Lutz or anybody for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Not even Xenon should have been able to get in there where, you know what I'm saying, them have them the technology where run the station. You know what I'm saying? That was, what I'm saying? Yeah, but anyways, it's a movie, and it's a Disney movie, a Disney Channel original movie from the 1990s. So it's gonna get a little pass from me, but at the same time, I'm going to talk about these things, right? Because it seems very ridiculous, right? And then when did Aunt Judy find the time to get so close to the commander? Hmm? Because we saw that little introduction, and the two of them look stunned at one another. Love at first sight kind of thing. Yes, fine. But then at the dance, at the little session where I keep with Protozoa, you see are basically you know in a very in a good position. And I'm saying with the man, I'm saying, like, yeah, all right. Makes one think, is she like a Badge Bunny from The Rookie? Yes, I do watch The Rookie. Have you guys watched The Rookie? Anyways, that's another conversation for another time. All right, another podcast, not this one, right? But if The Rookie does contain some sci-fi element at any point, we will talk about it on this podcast. So that's it for my theories. And of course, because there are follow-up movies, there are going to be some other things that are going to come out, right? Some things like probably what happens to Protozoa's hair, right? I don't know if something happens to his hair. I'm just, figuring more or less that if he's in the other ones, then probably something happens to his hair, or, yeah. But anyways, that's it for my theories and unresolved mysteries. Please share your theories, whether they be good ones, bad ones. If you agree with ones that I have posed here, let me know in the comments. So in this episode, we looked at space pop, teen spirit, and galactic adventures in Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. And there are so many things that come to mind when I turn my mind back to the past. Those days, you weren't even sure how much days you had. It felt like you had a lot of time because of summer holidays. It felt like you could watch so many different things on TV. It felt nice to know that I could enjoy it with family too, you know? And perhaps that is what those downtimes are like, you know? When you get a holiday or when you get time to spend with your family, you actually get to reset. And through it all, you know, all of the adventures them you go upon, because a lot of the things that I experienced as a child, some of the most awesome experiences came from spending time with my elder sisters and their kids, you know, my nieces and my nephews. Even going to the movies, I can remember those times, you know. And now, as an adult, I'm charged with a responsibility of other people's children and my own child. No, I get it. I totally get it. You know, it may not be an easy job, but if it's done well, the impact will be worth a lifetime. It will be worth at least one of them reflecting on it and saying, you know, I remember how my uncle, my father, did do this for me. And make we go so and so. Yeah, I guess that's the legacy that we have to leave for the younger generation. And that is how they will see through our eyes and they will be able to carry it forward, paying it forward perpetually. And that's what life is about, right? All of us sharing what we have with one another. Hopefully, at some point, the whole of humanity will be united in that to share with one another, with all the struggles that is happening in the Middle East, with all the things that are happening over here and over there. We can just come together and just say, we need to share. We need to do for our fellow man what we would want for us all. That's it. That brings us to the end of this episode. Our voyage to the universe of sci-fi television has passed a major milestone. 1,000 downloads. Now, we're on a mission to 1250. Your support means the world. So stay engaged, share your thoughts, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay curious.